Welcome to My Long Island TV. From Manhasset to Montauk, Long Island is full of fantastic people. We have traveled into many of our great communities to bring you the following stories. I'm your host, Waldo Cabrera. Get ready, My Long Island TV starts now.
Welcome to Greenport. We're standing here by our Seaport Museum, which is sponsored by local people here at Greenport and ran by the volunteers. The Seaport Museum is here to preserve the heritage of the Maritime Foundation here in Greenport, and also to produce programs for the youth to educate them on our history and bring them into the marine science. This is an 1800 turn-of-the-century building. It was an old railroad terminal. It was used for many years, and now it has become the museum, the Marine Museum for us.
Please come in and admire our magnificent Fresnel lens here, the second order Fresnel lens from the Little Gull Island Light, which is offshore. And then we have another one from the Plum Island Light, which is about 10 miles from here. The order has to do with the focal length of the lens. The first order lenses are the biggest ones, and the fourth and fifth orders are smaller and smaller. That's the second order up there. And this one here is, I think, a fourth order lens. This one here, I know is visible about 4 or 5 miles, whereas the big ones will go 20 or 30 miles. We have 8 or 10 lights within 30 miles sail of here. The furthest out one would be the ones on Block Island, which are basically the end of North America. If you sail east from Block Island, you get to Portugal. We have over in the corner, the classic America's Cup boat. One of the J-boats was captained by Mr. Mansell, who lives locally. The America's Cup, of course, has evolved significantly from the days when the America, actually, which was a schooner, won the cup. And one of the steps in the evolution of them was the J-boats. And these were huge, fast sloops. Now they use catamarans, which are basically speed machines. Our annual show is the tattoo show. We have a banner that says, "If you have a tattoo, thank a sailor." The sailors discovered tattooing, and they brought it back to Europe, became instantly popular, to the point where British royalty got tattooed. Queen Victoria had a tattoo in an intimate location. Which in her time, of course, meant anything below the neck and above the ankle. There have been a number of tattoo shows at other museums, mostly concentrating on the history of tattooing. But what we decided to concentrate on is the narrative of local tattoos. And so we got to know 18 or 19 local subjects who have tattoos, and we're happy to share their stories with us. So up here we have displays of a local sail loft with antique equipment, antique sail-making techniques. Here in the corner we have a little vignette of a Prohibition-era restaurant. There was a number of oyster shops around here. The finished product was cans of shucked oysters. My problem is I grew up in Wisconsin, and the only oysters I had ever had were canned oysters until I moved out here. And there's nothing like a raw oyster, you know, shucked and just eaten right down. One of the great stories that happened in Greenport was the U.S. Coast Guard picket patrol in World War II. In 1942, the German U-boats were essentially sailing at will up and down the East Coast. There were dozens and dozens and dozens of yachts that were taken over by the Coast Guard and used for spotting submarines. They were called Hooligan's Navy by the rest of the Navy. The advantage of the sailing yachts was that they were quiet. They were anti-magnetic, and they could go out for long periods of time and just watch for submarines, or after dark listen for submarines, because the submarines would surface to charge their batteries. After 43, America had produced sufficient number of destroyers and anti-submarine aircraft to take over. This is in town here. This is at a local restaurant. And I believe at this reunion there was also a U-boat captain.
People are coming now and finding Greenport an ideal place to visit for both the restaurants and the shops. It's a nice little seaport town. We would recommend that you go to our web, eastendseaport.org. And from there you can look at our cruises, you can look at the Maritime Festival and other activities we have.